Well, thank you so much, Mayor Lane. Let me just first say it's so good to be back home in Arizona and not in my new deployment location in Washington, D.C., but I'll be back there tomorrow. And it's great to put the uniform back on again. I still fit into it. Was ironing my shirt last night. I was having flashbacks to my freshman year at the academy, like, hope nobody yells at me, do my creases look good? But anyway, it's been great. On Veterans Day is one of the times that we as retirees can get back in our uniforms and just be around fellow patriots, fellow warriors from across all the services. Every day should be Veterans Day in America, but today our society is mindful of the sacrifices that our veterans and their families make. So it's been an extremely emotional day for me. I'll tell you, I was in the parade and visited some veterans at the veterans home, and to see from all eras our veterans who have come back, served and sacrificed, have their stories, some coming back with the wounds of war, and just the honor and the patriotism that they still hold, and just some of the extraordinary experiences I've had talking to people today. I mean, it's just even just being in the parade and going by the VA, and you see some vets out there on both sides of the fence, just there, some of them missing limbs, many of them, wearing their gear. It just, there shouldn't be a dry eye in the place for our country today as we think about the sacrifice that has been made. And I know we organize ourselves by service and our songs, but also I want to, and I'm not going to make anybody stand up, but I want to also honor our veterans today by era as well. Do we have any World War II veterans here? I know there's one over here. Anybody else? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. You don't have to stand up. God bless you. No, you don't have to stand. Don't stand. God bless you. You guys are amazing. You are the greatest generation. God bless you. I had the honor to be on the beaches of Normandy at the 75th anniversary this year, and I will tell you, it's one of the highest honors of my life. You are the greatest generation. You saved the world from tyranny, so thank you so much for your service and your sacrifice. God bless you, sir. All right, how about Korea? Korea War veterans. Raise your hand. You don't have to stand up. Korea War. All right, if you want to stand, you can. God bless you. Okay, where are Vietnam veterans? Please, you stand. Everybody, give them a round of applause. I want to in particular say thank you for your service, and also welcome home. I know when we came home from our deployments, our country, regardless of their differences, they cheered us on and said thanks for your service. They didn't do that for you. I don't want you to be reminded of that wound, but when I see a Vietnam vet, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say welcome home. We can never make up for the way the country treated you, but we can certainly treat you with honor now. So God bless you. All right, how about some Cold War? We have Cold War veterans. I know many of us served in the Cold War. God bless you guys. Stopping from the Soviet Union and communism. And then Desert Storm Forward, OEF, OIF, that's my generation. Where are you? All right, raise your hand. You guys are awesome. And lastly, I know the mayor referenced it, but where are our military spouses? Can you please stand? You guys are awesome. If you served as a military spouse, we are so grateful. We are so grateful for your service and your sacrifice. I'll tell you, you all kept the home front together. You gave up your careers. And I tell people, this generation we see with the economy doing great, we have this generation, depression-level unemployment among military spouses. And everywhere I go, companies are looking for workers. And I say to them, I know exactly where you can find resilient, innovative, dedicated, amazing workers, and that's our military spouses. And so our companies around the country and in Arizona are really making a special effort to honor our military spouses and provide more opportunities for them. You guys are heroic. We go over into harm's way. We have our 3 meals and our shelter taken care of, and you guys are dealing with all sorts of stuff back here and picking up and moving all the time. I can never list the sacrifice you all made, but God bless you all. Really thank you all for your service and your sacrifice. You deserve a medal for what you did in order to serve our country. Let's give them one more round of applause. And look, I'm going to be brief. I'm not going to give a big speech, but I will just tell you, I now deploy to DC. I do consider it a continuation of my service in a different outfit. I usually have civilian clothes when I share this. It's the same oath of office that I took, though, when I raised my right hand as a senator. So I do see this as a next opportunity to continue to serve in a different battlefield. And part of our culture, you will all relate to this, all our veterans. If you're ever complaining about something, you better be willing to do something about it, right? That's our culture as veterans. If you're ever complaining to the commander, you're going to be the project officer to fix it, right? So when I found myself yelling at the television saying, what are those people in DC doing? What do? You look yourself in the mirror and say, well, step up and do something about it. And so it's extremely frustrating, but I will tell you, when it comes to supporting our military and supporting our veterans, among so many other things that we're working on, believe it or not, there is common ground. There is common ground. I serve on the Armed Services Committee. So much has been done, but so much more needs to be done. And those of us who have served, we know what it's like. We know when the troops don't have the resources that they need for their readiness and their training. We know what that's like, and we want to make sure that our current troops have everything they need in order to keep us safe. So we fight for that because we understand what that's like. We know when we transition and come back from combat and we're transitioning into civilian life, how hard that can be. So we know how important it is to make sure that there's opportunities for employment, there's opportunities for job training and education, and that all of society is there to support our veterans as they transition. And we also know that we have a covenant with our veterans, that when they said they were willing to put their life on the line for our freedoms, that when they come back home, that we've got their back, that we are going to give them the best health care that this world has to offer in America. We owe them that. And we have done some things, but more needs to be done. I'll tell you, I get my care at the VA, so I'm like the secret shopper, okay? All right? We with the VA Mission Act, we are transitioning, so it's all about what care you need in the community, whether it's at the VA or whether it's at a local provider, because it shouldn't be about you standing in line in the bureaucracy as you're waiting and suffering. It should be about you getting whatever care you need with no bureaucracy, and the bills are paid, and what's best for you. So I see firsthand. I made a phone call the other day, and I was trying to get an appointment, and they're like, well, the first appointments in January, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? Now, I happen to know that if it's going to be a few months, they're supposed to tell me, like, would you like to get care in the community, right? And I'm like, wait for it, And I'm like, we wrote this law, I kind of know what needs to happen next, right? And so so I finally said, like, shouldn't you offer me an option to go downtown? And then I got kind of well, if that's what you want to do, and I'm like, that's the law, and so, yes, I would like to do that. So anyway, I see the challenges with the bureaucracy, and then I get to go back and say, okay, this is what's not working. And when we hear from veterans in our office all the time, both Representative Schweikert's and our office, we have full-time caseworkers that if you have an issue with the VA, you have an issue with your benefits, come to us. We are here to be your wingmen and your wingwomen, to pound on some bureaucrats' heads, figuratively, to break through the bureaucracy on your behalf. Again, we have full-time people dedicated to that. So please contact our offices if you have any issues. Because again, I see that firsthand. And so we've got to make sure, again, we've got transition opportunities, we've got job opportunities, we've got the care, the health care they need, and specifically one area that we have to do more in is preventing veteran suicide. This is something, it is just not right. Not right. Our veterans come home, they survive combat, and then they take their own lives. The vast majority of them are not even associated with getting care in the VA. We have to do more as a society. We have to do more as neighbors and friends. The VA has to do more with all the nonprofits that are out there. We have to quickly identify when someone is at risk and get them the care that they need. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Just this week I introduced some legislation in this space related to veterans treatment courts. We've seen some examples in Arizona where we have veterans that come back and then they start to have addiction issues or they start to get in a little bit of trouble with the law. But really the root issue is something else. The root issue is their combat service, whether it's officially PTSD or TBI or something like that. And then they start getting into trouble. And the system would just normally lock them up. And then they could just continue to spiral down. But these veteran treatment courts, there's a great example down in Tucson. Judge Pollard, he was a Marine. He started this whole initiative, allows them to instead get diverted to treatment. And not only do they get the treatment that they need for the root issues, but then they also are surrounded by battle buddies. They're surrounded by others. We know what it's like when you hold each other accountable. You hold each other accountable for your behavior, to be reminded of our core values so that we are making good choices, and then you allow our veterans to spiral back up, to continue to serve their communities and meet their full potential in society. And this has been an extraordinary initiative, but our legislation actually expands it to be nationwide, because veterans across the whole state and the whole country deserve those same opportunities. Don't you agree? Let's make that happen. And I'll tell you, I think about some of the veterans I've met, and many today, but a couple that really ground me, back to our World War II veterans. I had the opportunity over August to meet 4 of the 5 remaining Navajo code talkers. These extraordinary men signed up, like many of you, as teenagers. They used their unique Navajo language in order to have an unbreakable code to transmit tactical and strategic messages. It was never written down, and it wasn't as simple as them just translating. There were no words in Navajo for fighter jet and tank. They had to come up with new words. They had to spell out words under fire, under duress. In Iwo Jima, they were right there and helped turn the tide. They were all Marines. They served in the Pacific, and their impact in the Pacific will never be fully known or understood. But to be able to meet those heroes, I'll tell you, it was just an honor of my life, and it gives me the strength and the inspiration to then get back on the plane and fly back to the swamp in order to fight for all of you. Because I know what grounds us all, what grounded them, what grounds all of you is service and sacrifice and patriotism, and do the right thing even if it comes at a cost. And that's what binds us all together. And that's what gives me the courage and the inspiration to continue to serve in this crazy time that we have, because there's just so much at stake and our freedoms are at stake. And so it's a real honor to be with you today. Please, thank you for your service. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And thank you to everybody who has served and sacrificed. Please enjoy your day today. Don't say, no, it's okay. When people say thank you for your service, be proud of it. Because you literally made sure that we all have the opportunity to visit here today, that we have the opportunity to speak freely, that we have the opportunity to worship freely, and all those things that we put our lives on the line for. So God bless you all. Thank you for your service and sacrifice, and have a wonderful and meaningful Veterans Day. God bless America.